Who is the mother of Jesus? The terrifying truth buried for over 2,000 years. No one knew. I don't have much time left. My hands tremble, my memory is worn out, and my eyes are just two flickering lights of a life long lived. But if I don't tell, no one will. And if no one tells, people will forever believe that the mother of Jesus was a perfectly beautiful image, like the stained glass in a chapel window. Number she once screamed herself hoarse. She once knelt on cracked earth and begged to die in place of her son. She once wanted to end her life. I know, because I was the one who wrested the knife from her hand. The mother of him, her real name was Mary. When I first met her, she was just a frail girl, her face not as beautiful as people now claim. She was skinny, sunburned, with calloused hands from harvesting grain for the wealthy families in town. Mary's father had died in a landslide, and her mother was paralyzed, bedridden. Every day Mary worked from dawn till dusk to earn a few coins for bread and medicine. I was a servant in a priestly household. Mary often came to wash clothes at the well behind the house. I was nearly 10 years older than her, but I had never seen anyone with such sorrowful eyes, as if she had seen something far too great for such a small frame to carry. One time I asked, "Little one, what is your greatest wish?" Mary was silent for a while. Then she quietly said, "I want to be chosen to do something greater than myself." I laughed, but then I stopped, because what she wished for did come, and it was so great, the world would never be the same again. That night, I heard Mary scream. I ran over, thinking there was a thief, but the room was empty. Mary was curled up in a corner, drenched in sweat. She said, "I saw a light, then a voice, telling me I would bear a son." I was about to fetch the priest to perform an exorcism, but Mary gripped my hand, her gaze deadly serious. "It wasn't a dream. I'm truly pregnant, but I've never been with anyone." That sentence, dear reader, chilled me to the bone. No one believed Mary, not even her own mother. She slapped Mary so hard she bled from her mouth, calling her a disgrace. Mary was cast out, forced to sleep beneath an old olive tree. No one dared to shelter her. The villagers whispered, "That girl's gone mad, or possessed." She didn't cry. I still remember those eyes, as if she knew. From now on, she would no longer be a girl, but a sign. We wandered all through Bethlehem, seeking shelter to give birth. No house opened its doors. No one would offer space to a woman about to deliver. That night was freezing cold. Mary knelt beneath the sky, clutching her belly, groaning in pain. I panicked, searching desperately. Finally, a kind shepherd pointed us to an abandoned stable. Jesus was born there. There was no angelic music, no divine light, only Mary's screams of agony. And me, the servant girl, delivering the baby with trembling hands, wiping blood with an old cloak. When the child let out his first cry, I cried before he did. I stayed with them for years after, in a small hut outside Nazareth. Joseph, Mary's husband, was a gentle, quiet man. He never asked much about the pregnancy, but I once saw him cry silently at night, in front of a wooden cross he carved himself. Jesus grew up like any other child, yet unlike any of them. He had no friends. No one wanted to play with a boy born of a woman without a husband. Mothers pulled their children away when he approached. Once, a boy threw a stone at Jesus and shouted, "Demon child, go to hell." He didn't cry. He turned his face away and murmured something I couldn't hear. But that night, His mother, Mary, did cry. She clung to me like a child. Why must my son endure all of this? I didn't know how to answer, because even I had once thought perhaps this was God's punishment for someone. No one is born this way, unless heaven intends to punish them. When Jesus turned 8, something happened that I have never dared tell anyone. That was the night I found Mary standing by a dry well, where many women had taken their lives. She wore a white cloth, a knife in her hand. I screamed, "What are you doing? Are you mad?" Mary turned around, tears flooding her face. She didn't shout or scream. She just said one sentence that shattered me. My son doesn't deserve to live in a world like this. If God wants to take him back, I'll go first to tell him. I lunged, tearing the knife from her grasp. We wrestled, rolling on the ground like two crazed women. At last, I held her, both of us bleeding. Mary wailed, as though centuries of agony erupted in one moment. From that night on, I stood guard over her sleep. Jesus had strange powers, but no one called them miracles. Once, I saw him place his hand on a sparrow with a broken wing, and the bird flew away, healed. Another time, I burned myself with boiling water. Jesus touched my wound, and the pain vanished as if it had never been. But when I told the villagers, they didn't believe. They said, "You old fool, don't bring your devil tricks to us." I said nothing, and Jesus remained silent, never claiming to be chosen. He just kept working, kept being rejected. Then came a special night when Jesus turned 12. I remember clearly it rained, a torrential downpour the likes of which Nazareth rarely saw. We lost sight of Jesus after the temple ceremony. Mary went mad. She ran through the town screaming his name. I too ran into the dark alleys, holding a lantern, heart pounding. Eventually, I found him. Jesus was sitting alone in a cave, soaked, pale, holding his head. I thought he was ill, but no. He whispered, "I saw the light." I asked, "What light?" Jesus looked at me, his eyes no longer those of a child, the light from a place beyond time. I heard a voice calling, and I am no longer afraid. I trembled. I knew. That night, he ceased to be the boy I once lulled to sleep. He had awakened. From then on, Jesus grew quieter. He helped the villagers fix homes, mend nets, build furniture, asked for no pay, never sought thanks. He was still hated, still cursed. Someone even threw feces at our door. But Mary no longer broke down. She seemed to have accepted it, no longer asking why. Each night she prayed in silence, no words, no tears. I once asked her, "Do you no longer suffer?" Mary smiled, her first smile in years. I still hurt, but I no longer let the pain lead me. Now I recount all this, not for your pity, and certainly not for worship. I tell this because the truth should not be hidden behind golden paintings in cathedrals. The Mother of God was not born a saint. She once wanted to die, was once called a whore, once kicked in the belly while pregnant, once nearly jumped into a well, once screamed beside a child the world rejected, and then she stood up. So if you, reading this now, feel like you have nothing left to hold on to, remember this: Jesus was not born in light. He was born from the deepest pit of despair, of a woman no one believed in. When Jesus was 16, he once asked me, "Auntie, why does everyone hate me?" I didn't answer. But now, at the end of my life, I can finally tell him and you, because when light first shines, it hurts people's eyes. I am the last maid who ever touched the dirt-covered feet of Jesus and the shattered heart of his mother. Please remember this, because those who remember will never feel alone again.